On to long ball number 2, Club World Cup check-in. CONCACAF out after Monterrey's 2-1 defeat last night to Dortmund, leaving MLS and the region here out of the competition. What do you think of that development? I mean, we saw other teams. I mean, kind of one half of the bracket is European, the other half is the rest of the world. I guess does the rest of the world fare anyway, the rest of the competition, or is it just going to be European based from here on out, you think?
No, I mean, it's we're guaranteed to have a non-European club in a semifinal, which I think if you had said that was going to happen before the tournament, people might have looked at you sideways. Like, what do you mean? No, we're going to have 4 UEFA teams in the semifinal. And that's not going to happen because Al Hilal pulled off the surprise of the tournament by taking down Manchester City. And we were talking before the show, Simone Inzaghi gets a little bit of revenge against Manchester City after that Champions League final loss a couple years ago with a team he's been managing for about 3 weeks, I guess. I don't know how much of this is on him. I do think that part's interesting in sort of the context of Major League Soccer and CONCACAF in general, if you're talking about Monterrey being bounced, that the only team outside of UEFA or CONMEBOL, because you could imagine, we thought we might get some CONMEBOL teams definitely to the round of 16, and the Brazilian sides performed well and all made it, right? You thought that was going to happen, but to have Al Hilal in the quarterfinal here with an opportunity to go to a semi, because I think they could beat Fluminense. If they could beat Manchester City, they can beat Fluminense. That would be a shock. And on one hand, it makes me sad because this is kind of, again, the Saudi Arabia sports washing campaign working.
Yeah.
And making them look good over here. On the other hand, there's always going to be like, okay, give me chaos, break up the big powers, show that there's something else possible outside of UEFA. And Al Hilal has done that. They and while I don't think it's fair because of the difference in the money that is spent, absolutely this kind of reflects back on CONCACAF and on Major League Soccer, which is in the same category, the same bucket of leagues as the Saudi Pro League, in that it is not a major power. It is outside of the major regions, and people are thinking about it as a developing league that needs to figure out what it wants to be and how to get better. And Al Hilal is proving that the Saudi approach, which really is just throwing money at the problem, at least gets you some glory here. Now, this is the thing, right? And when we come back to Miami and we're going to talk Toronto FC on this show and the money that they threw out of 2 players rather, that did not work for them, and why Major League Soccer continues to chase the big name signing at the expense of overall roster quality. You look at the team that Al Hilal ran out against Manchester City. You've got Alexander Mitrovic, who scored goals for fun in the championship, scored goals for Fulham. You have Milinkovic Savic in there, who has played at Lazio, who have played 300 times at Lazio. I mean, we're talking about quality players. Obviously, Ruben Neves is in their midfield. His resume at Wolves speaks to his experience, and Koulibaly at the back. I mean, they have. It's not all through the team, right? There are obviously Saudi players in this group, but they have more.
They have like 8 DPs.
They have, yeah, exactly. That's exactly the difference. And I think that is interesting in the context of what they have done in this tournament and reaching this quarterfinal. And we'll see what they do against Fluminense. And obviously, I think if you are just looking for something different than the Champions League, you're glad to see other teams make the quarterfinal. Chelsea gets Palmeiras, which would be interesting. And then, of course, but then we'll also get a little bit of the glitz and glamour when PSG takes on Bayern Munich and Real Madrid gets Borussia Dortmund.
Yeah, we'll get to the games of the weekend ahead, but it is interesting to look at the bracket and just to hang on at Man City for a moment longer. After they won the previous round, Pep was saying we'll probably pay the price in December for this run, but we're here to win this, and we're here for a long summer. No one's interested in vacation. And then they lost the very next game, which they probably will be just burned out to all smithereens by December, regardless of, missing out on a couple games. But funny, or notable quotes from Pep Guardiola.